Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And y'all, we've been having different schedules because we're having more speakers coming in from Europe and other parts of the world, and it's we didn't want to have them stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, sharing their gifts because it's such a privilege to have them on the show, and it's a privilege to have today's guest, Vera Hellman, Helleman on. Who was an introduction through a friend of a dear friend. And the second I landed on her website, just landing on her website, I knew that this was something extraordinary that I needed to bring onto the show and share with y'all. So it's a privilege to be able to have this conversation and to be able to introduce you to a body of work that I feel is going to be of tremendous benefit. Um, to tell you a little bit more about Vera, she discovered the Emotion Codex. She's an author of bestseller books, and she's a well-known speaker in the Netherlands and an icon in the field of emotions. Her fundamental and energetically logical approach to feelings has transformed the life of many people around the world. And according to Vera, understanding and integrating our feeling tool is the missing puzzle in today's problem. She's tirelessly working to restore emotions to the rightful function, our compass. Now, Vera has spent her life unraveling the complexities of human emotions. She was born a highly sensitive child, which a lot of you all can relate to, with a unique ability to perceive energy. She developed a rare perspective on human behavior. And observing people beyond their physical expressions, Vera noted how their energy could suddenly shift from harmony to inner conflict, sparking her a lifelong study into why we create our own suffering. With an acute, structured mind and deep sensitivity, Vera has pioneered accessible frameworks that reveal fundamental insights into human emotions. Her work continues to empower individuals, offering a clear path to emotional mastery and inner peace, making her a true thought leader in the realm of emotional intelligence. And it's with that introduction, Vera, that I welcome you to our community here on Beyond the Ordinary.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here
It's
and meet you,
wonderful.
of course.
Thank you so much. So, the Emotion Codex, how did that come to you? Was it all just a downpour of inspiration, or was it a building up of information over the years? Probably both. But how, when you put this all together, how did it impact you?
Yes, it did was actually the life mission. So it started from very early age that I was fascinated by human behavior.
Mm,
But the huge changes were, I think, first was a few awakenings into oneness. So I also was a teacher for 7 years into about oneness. And then I was under the shower and a voice said to me, "You need to write about emotion." So I did. And I even made a coach method out of it. But when the codex came, that was a different story actually. This was a huge download, like like a bubble of energetic information full of codes,
mm,
and it was so energetically that my conscious mind didn't understand it. And it was so heavy, it was so huge, this bubble, that I also couldn't speak for a few days, and my mind couldn't get it on order. So I went into the process of unpacking packing this information, and I couldn't make any sense out of it, but it knew what it was about. So I felt what it was about, but I couldn't understand it. There was a huge gap between my mind and what I knew
mm,
and what came in. So at a certain moment, I thought I need to draw it. So I was drawing all these energetic motions, the movements of energy that I felt. And when I looked at my drawings, it were all symbols. Some symbols I knew, some symbols I didn't. Some I knew but didn't know what I meant. So I was looking it up in books and internet, but they didn't capture the depth actually that I saw in those symbols.
mm,
And I also missed something. So So it was one night, and my mind was spinning very fast to try to understand it. And I was laying in my bed, and I really grabbed my head, and I thought, oh, I'm going mad. And exactly at that moment, it was dark in my room, I had a memory of my father on his deathbed.
Wow.
Yes, and it was a very painful memory. And so I wanted to look away because I needed to do my puzzle. But he demanded my attention.
Hmm.
And I didn't understand why. But when I was by a lot, yeah, I was captured by this image, and suddenly my father changed into a light being, and I heard this deep voice and said to me, "You have to think three-dimensionally." So suddenly all my drawings became three-dimensionally symbols. And so this was a huge breakthrough in understanding it, because that was the final symbol I needed to receive. And so the month after that, I understood what it was about, and I also got more memories of my birth and before I was born, and so the complete puzzle actually fall into pieces. And so I discovered, yeah, that moment actually what the Emotion Codex was about. And in short, it reveals the energetic template on which this whole reality is built. And because it's about emotions, and emotions are also about energy, and emotions are so close to us and so recognizable and so tangible. So apparently, our emotions are a very yeah, unique path to understand this
Hmm.
energetic, yeah, logic actually of the universe.
Well, I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about the logic because you had a very esoteric experience in it,
Yeah.
but you really, which I really appreciate that you're grounding it into logic because I I've had a tendency to go up and out to get information, bring it in, being highly sensitive and
Hmm.
translating information in that particular way. And while I have a capacity or a practice of taking that first hit of information, if you will, or that stimulus, and maybe taking it and interpreting, what you're bringing in also is how important it is to take it into deeper layers beyond the
Yes,
surface hit and the alchemical first reaction into something that we can actually navigate with and start directing a path that really serves us. So talk to us
yes.
more about the logic component of this.
Yes, everything is so logic. And yes, it is. I'm a manifester, so it needed to be tangible
Mm.
for everyone to understand. So I will show it to you. This is the Emotion Codex. I made a three-dimensional model of it also. And what you see it on the corners, you see all these balls, and these are emotional forces, energetical forces, and each energetical forces has a certain characteristics and traits, is correlated to life themes, pitfalls, and so what I often hear is people, yeah, on the spiritual path don't like it actually here on Earth.
Mm.
It is too harsh, too dense, too aggressive, too overwhelming,
Confusing, yes.
and confusing. And a lot of us don't want to be here and want to be in this realm of spiritual lightness. And actually, this is the spiritual realm. This is emotion group love, and this is the densest part. This is emotion group shame, and together they hold all the other emotional forces, and these guide us on our path, our life path. So this is actually what stores our being on different levels, and all the other forces guide us through life. And what I find so incredibly beautiful of this, besides that you get an insight of how the universe works, is that actually each emotional force, and that is that is also why it happened before. After I got all these insights about oneness, we only know the negative parts of emotions. And so because we are programmed in avoiding pain and gain pleasure, a lot of emotions we resist and don't want to feel and or ignore or whatever. But when you really dive into their innate powers, you see that they start with a positive intention. And through the codex, we can climb all the emotional ladders and really connect with these forces and understand that actually our life itself and the duality here is a very profound spiritual creation that
Mm,
we take part in. So with the born of the duality of the one, actually the duality is also born. And for me, this is such an incredible, beautiful, uh, um, yes, manifestation that people don't see. They see
mm,
they see the negative part of it, but looking through different eyes and understanding the energetics, it is so nice and to be human. And the Emotion Codex is actually the roadmap to understand humanity and how we work through love, how we move, how our minds works, and how it also works together with each other and also the universal forces.
mm. I want to go into a deep dive with you in a second, and I think this is gonna be so good, y'all. I think this is gonna feel like this, like a mini special offer, um, because I can feel the depths that we're gonna go into. It's gonna feel like a workshop, which is fantastic because you are so you're such an authority in this. And the way that
Mm,
you've set it up, from step one to two to three to four, it just makes
yes.
sense. And there's a liberating force behind it. But before we get into that, I'm curious, how has applying this impacted your life personally?
Wow. Well, actually, I figured out life with by falling and standing up again, and I experienced well everything that you can experience in life. And so I struggled my way through it. And when I also saw the runners and felt myself happy and successful, that was the moment that I got all the insights about the Emotion Codex. So I thought, I wish I knew this earlier, because life would be so much simpler when I knew this earlier. But of course, I needed to go through all this depths before I was able to understand humanity completely. But now in my present days, when I walk through life and an emotion shows up, and I mean energetically, because most people experience emotions physically, but that is actually the second state. So when emotions arise in the energetic realm, so I notice them, and there's a structure always in my head that figures out to which emotion group this belongs, because each emotion group tells me what is going on, which life theme is challenged, and what I need to do, to help myself a step further on my path.
Hmm.
So immediately when an emotion arises, I stop the time and I do the inquiry and I know what to do. So it is my guidance system, as it is for us all.
Wow. Wow. It's
Yes.
it's it's profound. Again, I'm just so thrilled of what you've created and so happy to present this. Um,
Mhm.
Chris, do me a favor and put the special offer link in the chat box. Yo, I want to go through the special offer because we're gonna take a mini deep dive into
Mhm.
the Emotion Codex. Um, when you land on the page, you'll know what I mean. That this is gonna be a mini workshop, and to have an in-depth understanding of this is an empowerment that is both spiritual and very grounded. Um, that I feel that we're in a time of that this is imperative, especially for those of you who relate to being extremely empathic and aware of so much, um, but maybe perhaps at times or a lot, feeling that you don't quite know how to piece it together in your current existence to take what's informing you in a positive direction. And rather than hiding or going into even traditional psychotherapy and trying to get there a little bit at a time, which is extremely valuable, I feel like this body of work really gives us something that allows for an awareness of an intimate understanding of ourselves that brings us into a place of tremendous empowerment. So I highly encourage you to click on the special offer link in the chat box. Clicking it under the video where you're watching the call from, there's a special offer button icon on that page, either on the live page or on the replay page as well. And Vera, I'd love it if you take us through um, this website that's so beautiful that you've created and take us into what you refer to as the different phases and then
Yeah.
why these phases are so beneficial.
Yes, it is a journey. It is we are going to rebuild our life journey again, actually. So it's also about the phases that we go through life. So we start with with the Emotion Codex basics, in which I will teach you all about the energetic logic of emotions and how they function and why. And so this is just this knowledge to know how to proceed. But the real work is in the different emotion groups. So each emotion group is a course, 15 minutes a day, in which you do the work and you face every angle of where in this life theme something is still bothering you, and you adapt it as normal, but actually is holding you back. So we start with emotion group shame, which is all about self-awareness and actually the birth, I mean, of the human self. So actually, the whole process starts with conception. This is when the body is being made and how we become a one. And so this self-awareness, which sometimes we even call ego, is something that a lot of spiritual people want to get rid of, but it is the baseline of our existence. And during this part of the program, you will understand how beautiful it is to have a body, how beautiful it is to be a separate human being. Actually, there was one of my students that went through this course and she was in a wheelchair for 4 years. And after doing a specific lesson in this course, it sinked so deep in that she could stand up and walk to the other side of the room. I was truly amazed.
Wow.
Yes, it was magnificent. So it is really the coins fall really deep. So after this, we are going to emotion group fear, which is all about the journey, the love journey. It is actually the birth of our human being, and then we are beginning the journey, and we only know fear as the alert for danger, but it is so much more. It is actually the also the thrill of the life and going out into the world. So in emotion group fear, we are going to conquer our outer world and walk with trust and with our head held high. And
Mm,
you're really going to feel the positive sides of the innate power of this emotion group.
mm,
And the interesting thing of the order is not only the same orders as we go through life in different cycles. We do 4 cycles in our life, but also it starts with building a someone and then going out to the world and then take care of ourselves again and then and it builds up not only in higher frequencies but also um, so it contains the taking care of ourselves, but it also contains the taking care of the outer world, but also us as one being. So
mm,
the next phase is emotion group anger, which is all about facing our strength, building our strength, using our strength, and also, of course, controlling our strength, because a lot of people, well, have aggression outbursts. So that is also what we are going to look at, the pitfalls, but also building this beautiful strength, which are a lot of people afraid of. I see especially a lot of sensitive and very spiritual people who are afraid of the force of anger, because it is so intense and it feels so aggressive, but it's also the motor of everything that we need to, yeah, put into action, so to speak. So next, we go through emotion group disgust. And this is a very, very loaded word, but I like the word very much because we can split it into two. It is disgust, and the gust is so interesting because with emotion group disgust, we enter actually the sensitive part of the emotion codex, and this is a sensitive part that actually reaches out to the outer world energetically and adapts itself to the other being. So this is all about us morphing into the energy of other people, which is also overwhelming. And so after this phase, we need to heal ourselves, and that is emotion group sadness. And then we are going to reconnect to our self-healing abilities and really understand what healing is about. And of course, all the pitfalls of also about this life theme. And so that is insight again. What's next? Let me see. Emotion of joy. Then we enter actually the informational part, higher frequencies, which is all about finding our calling in life. What is our purpose? What is it that we that the role that we need to play for the collective? So each one has a unique purpose. That is what we are going to learn in emotion group joy. But there are also pitfalls in emotion group joy. And then we go to emotion group surprise, which is all about our mind power and how we actually set direction into our lives and how we use this capacity. This is the building block of manifestation, but it cannot be without the rest of it. And there's a logic behind it, and the logic behind this is what you're also going to understand. And last, of course, but not least, is emotion group love. And that is the moment actually that we're going to reach also oneness perspective. So this whole course, and each course is about 8 to 11 hours, even more, is all about reaching oneness. But the nicest thing is, because it's the end of the program, is that you wiped out all the traumas and the misconceptions and the dysfunctional beliefs, so that you are really ready also to dive in this completely. And then the cycle is round and we're going back again with the energy mastery program. But but after that, and they are also duos together, so they all work together and they also build on each other. So for example, when we set the baseline in emotion group shame, after that emotion group anger adds another layer also to emotion group shame, and anger builds also another layer on that. And so the previous traits and strengths that we just built inside of us are also enlarging and strengthening.
Mm.
So it is actually a rebuilding of our life, but in a healthy way. A lot of people's life are built on trauma and a lot of things that they lack into life. So the layers are uh, yeah didn't blend that yeah that well.
What's involved in each of the phases as far as going through those particular modules, and what gets received, what should we prepare for, and what should we allow for or understanding about integration as well?
Oh yes, it's a complete picture. So I will be there every Wednesday to answer all the questions that rise during the process. Also personal questions about the journey itself. So we aim for to do one lesson a day. So each course has 45 lessons. So it will take 1.5 years. But there's also a community with a lot of people who walk through it also, which you can also find and connect with also. So we are in this together to integrate and understand our whole feeling system, our whole feeling compass. And yeah, so there's, and each lesson has also practices. So it's really actually almost a therapeutic process, which start with the base and ends with the wellness perspective.
Mm. And so
Mm.
through the special offer, what's everybody accessing in the special offer right now? Because there's a monthly component to this on building.
Yes. Yes, it's a membership, so a monthly membership right now also at a discount, and you get access to all courses at once, and also all the replays of the Q and Emotions, the community, and but it is preferred that you do the courses in of course the right order,
Hmm.
but you can go faster if you would like. We are still in the process also of producing the courses, or there are 3 courses, but you need time to go through it. And so complete access to everything as long as you remember.
Complete access. There's going to be tools. There's going to be methodologies that you're sharing on there. There's
And workbooks also, and yes.
t take me through the emotion of shame in this phase two. It's like, oh, when I go in, what can I expect as far as, okay, I'm entering a portal of shame. Um, how do you open up with that? And then what is it that I may experience during the month as I'm going into this particular phase and see it for what it is? And actually, it's what is the revelation at the end that it actually becomes something that empowers me rather something that diminishes.
Yes, that is very nice, because all the courses in which I divide it in very detailed and different angles is built on therapeutic principles. So we start with just the foundation, so you know what it's about and what the life theme is about. But then I'm going to confront you and face and let you face all the ugly parts of it, so you recognize also in your own life, is there, if there any remains of maybe traumas of loss in the past. And then we're going to understanding why that happened, and how it works, and what the pitfalls are, and how you can stop yourself, of course, from falling into that. Then we are going to into a healing process, and after this healing process, we are going to integrate it. And there's also a part, you can choose to do this for yourself, but you can also choose to do it to help other people. So there are extra lessons and additional video length. So there's a part that is about guidance, other people. And the last part, that is my favorite, is about the mastery. And then we are entering, when all traumas are gone and wiped out, then we are entering the innate power and the higher tasks and the mastery of that emotion group. And that is when we really connect with its true power,
Mm,
and also look in the animal kingdom how they use it. And that is actually at the end of the course, is each phase of the emotion groups is when you understand that um, uh, the innate power is like an external energetic entity that you can relate to, and starts to being your friend on your path. So at the end, you have 8 friends that continuously mirror you, give you feedback, help you to go through the things. And so it also gives you a connection with the universe that I couldn't even imagine before I received it.
wow.
When I look outside of me in my life, and I really get goosebumps from it right now, is that I see the world also through different eyes, and also I already had a positive perspective of life, but
Mm,
I now see that there are living forces which actually are in every living creature, in each human, each animal, in each plant and tree. I see all the forces. I see them, because in the end, it's not only about emotions. It is also about the natural laws that are revealed through our emotions.
mm,
That is also nice to dive in. And because when we look at energy, we see it working as one force. But what I did with the courses, or what I came to understand through the courses that I received, is that I needed to divide it in four different forces, and they also combine into an outwarding and an inwarding side of this force. And so we see it all working together, but when you distract them, then you understand them better. But understanding they also work together, you see it in every molecule, you see it everywhere around you. So this whole world gets an miraculous extra dimension.
Wow. Well, it
Yeah,
seems like the those that we consider to be the bullies of the energies actually wind up being our best friends.
totally, totally, yes. And we also understand that we are those energies. That's
Hmm.
the It is
Yeah.
full of paradoxes and integrations and aha moments. Yeah.
It sounds very shamanic in the complexities of understanding as well.
Yes, actually, I have to search for the word. It is not shamanic, but what is it? How did they call the people who made gold in the past?
Alchemists.
Yes, it's alchemy.
Uh,
Yes.
and that's a lot of the religious teachings at their origins was the teaching of alchemy.
Interesting. Yes. So when I did actually research and going through all these religions back, and I figured out that when I saw the codex, I thought, oh, the earliest religions saw more truth than the later religions. But yes, it's this is all revealed in the symbols.
So
These
I'm
symbols are left to us to understand energies.
how do you utilize the symbols in this work? Is it just for reference and for understanding, or is there a component to healing that they bring in as well?
No, it's just for understanding. So I got all these memories. I saw myself actually as some kind of bluish, alienish being in another reality, which only communicates through energy. But I also saw myself in the pyramids touching all these symbols, and there's some kind of collaboration with these three lives. And then I started to understand that really all these symbols were just metaphors to help us remember about energy. So, for example, when you look
Mm.
at the codex, and I put it in the camera the right place, maybe you see now the Star of David in it. So that
Yes.
is a two-dimensional figure, and now it becomes a Merkaba, and we can also, of course, delete two tetrahedrons from it. But
Mm.
what I figured out that it was purely metaphorically, because in fact it aren't two tetrahedrons. In fact, the and where did I get it? Oh, it's here. In fact, more close to the truth is this, and this is the same Emotion Codex, but the triangles disappeared. And
Huh.
so I distracted just purely the energetic forces and how they combine and relate and collaborate with each other. And I discovered that it are like magnets with a plus and a minus pole on it. And when you uh, when you look at the way that the magnets are wired, it is an energetic field. When you look at how the magnets are wired, and you take the codex again, you put it aside, you get a box. And when you look at the box, this is a minus, this is a plus, a minus, a plus, a minus, a plus, and a minus, and a plus. And this is a perfectly wired energetic constellation. And within the energetic constellation, little vortexes are being made. And that is what we call the chakras. But we left out one of them. It contains so much profound information.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing that you showed it that way.
Yeah.
That's such a deep understanding, and using the 3D model, you can see the different angles. Again, you're taking it down to the deeper layers, which is
Yes.
what you're showing us here to do, is we're taking it into the layers and really excavating. the treasure that we think is hidden, that we think is just shadow. But again, there's gems and the preciousness
Yes.
that's available there.
Totally, because yesterday I was lying in a bath and I was pondering about these energetic fields, and I was thinking about emotion group love. And the nicest thing of love, it's at the bottom of the emotion group love, we feel very lonely and jealous and full of desires. And so we raise the ladder, we ascend the ladder of love. So we
Mm,
go through love and gratitude, but in the end, the emotion group love, we hit oneness. But the interesting thing is that there were energetic duos. So actually, when we hit the ladder, the top of the ladder of emotion group love, there becomes a collaboration with the top of the ladder of emotion group shame. And this is the moment that we realize that oneness is the same as the I am. So then suddenly
ah,
that what we diminished as ego becomes the consciousness itself.
mm.
It is actually
It's
uh, I cannot explain it in full in so
wow.
many, yeah.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. What shifts have you seen in clients that have participated with you through these particular phases? Like it's what's been the other side of someone going through the phase of shame? What did they look like before and what did you notice afterwards?
Yeah, shame is actually a very interesting one because a lot of people have problems with shame. I think the most problems are within shame,
Mm,
like self-loathing and feeling insecure and wanting to be loved by and seen by other people. And so, but it has also a very physical component. So what I see with people is that especially the sensitive ones who have problems with not being here and not really feeling an I, and which also can happen, for example, when you think this world is too overwhelming and get scared, and then you are going to float. So after emotion group shame, you become
mm,
present into your human existence. So the difference is it reminds me of an anecdote of my horses. I'm a horsewoman, and horses are communicating with energy massively. So they, for example, when you look at the leader of the herd, there is a line from his chest to the sideways, and there's no one lower in hierarchy that enters that energetic zone.
mhm,
They're very energetically, and I see people who are very floating and empathetic and actually very high energy, that horses just walk through them. They're not stepping aside when you enter, but
mhm,
after emotion group shame, you are a presence. And what I noticed with the horses, as they step aside for you, but they
mhm,
also trust you more.
mhm,
And yes, but what I heard with people hear from people is uh, that they are. Um, One of my students said it was the first time that I could see all the self hate, and I could look behind it and really felt the beauty of my being.
mm. Wow.
That kind of stories, yeah.
Wow. That's profound. I love that you use your connection to horses because they're so aware of energy. So
Totally.
aware of energy. And I was actually in a horse retreat for
Wow.
empaths years ago, and they were demonstrating to us how to be with the horse, and the horses would choose who they want to work with. They'd ask us to guide horses to lead them with our energy. And for some people, the horses would pay no attention to. It's like they felt the energy collapse and the lack of stability in the person, so the horse would take the lead. For other people, the horse would be very present and just follow along to the invitation to go in a particular direction. And there was actually an animal communicator um, who had been on the show, and I recommended this place to her because she wanted to lead retreats to dolphins and to swim with dolphins, which are amazing. I said, I think you should do this horse retreat. And she went there thinking, oh, I know how to communicate with animals. This is going to be a breeze. This is going to be a great time. But she was very controlling in a beautiful way.
Mm,
She had good intentions behind her control. But that
yes.
control came from a collapsed state, not from an empowered state. And the
Ah,
horses picked up on it right away. So as the horses were taking off and they're going down trails and they're navigating all these places, her horse would just stop and eat, not pay attention. It would not listen to her controlling energy because it could
yes.
feel where
Like,
it was emanating from. And after a couple of days, she just collapsed, sobbing because she didn't know what to do. And they say that we break horses in. This horse broke her open.
wow,
And she
yes.
surrendered into it and she got to know something about herself that really impacted her life forever.
Yes.
And you're doing this here in a different way, and you're doing it through these modules, through deep integration, through downloads of energy, through 3D modeling, but
Hmm.
also importantly through doing. So actually doing the work, movement, which is important, and through community. And you bridged all that together to create something really impactful.
Yes. 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 And live it and share how it's been done in real life.
hmm I
Yes.
want to go some questions on the other side of this. Okay, how can we impact certain specific things? And if y'all have questions, raise your hand, type your questions into the chat box, and we'll pose your questions to Vera. Um, for the special offer, Vera, you have it set it up as a monthly. Could we describe how each month will work, and the pricing on that?
Well, it is just a monthly membership. So when you
Okay.
enter it, you have access to all the courses, and you start with the first one, and I guide you also through emails, but also in the weekly Q&A motion it's called. And
Hmm.
you can do it at your own time and pace and share everything with the community. So you can, yeah, look around
So,
as long as you like it, and go if it's done.
okay, fantastic. And how long does each phase typically take?
Well, approximately 6 weeks, and,
Okay.
yeah, so you can go through it in one day if you would like, but really going through the process and understanding it and integrating it, and, I've did it for almost 10 years in the Netherlands, and what I've seen is that people need 6 weeks to really
Wow.
go through the process. Because when you start something like this, everything in your life is reacting.
Right.
So yes, and you feel that when you're at the end of the course, new life themes are going popping up, and yeah,
Mm.
it is really a journey which everything in your life is responding to. That
Amazing.
is why.
So, and each month there's two versions. There's a light version and a pro version. So on the light version, y'all, and I don't think it's light. I think it's very holistic. It's impactful. So you get access to all 8 emotion groups.
Yes, and the
There's
emoji codec
40.
basics. Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
and the emoji codex basics. Each course has 40 or 45 lessons. And the pro version is meant for people who also work or want to work with other people, and that is has
Uh,
also an extra course about the emotion coaching method.
oh, amazing. So this is like a kind of like a certification type of journey or
Yeah, well, we don't do certifications because it's about life,
beautiful.
and yes, and I don't like the old thinking, so I don't
That's
do that.
wonderful. And so there's
Yes.
40 videos, there's workbooks, bonus meditations, there's bonus lessons on online courses. There's access to associated heart exchange groups, which is amazing.
Mhm.
You provide challenges to integrate all the insights, which I love
Yes.
because we have to put it into practice. Tell me more about that.
Well, that is something that we do occasionally, just to make the community stronger, uh, because everything goes through the courses at their own pace. So then I drop in some challenges we all do together that
Mm,
connects us, that bonds us. So I like that. It's thrilling.
amazing. And then again, there's weekly calls with you.
Yes, every Wednesday there's a call, also the replays, and then you can ask me every question, and I will do my utmost best to to illuminate you with the energetic logics of anything. So I look with you in your life and
Mm.
yes, explain things. Yeah.
How long are those calls typically, those live calls?
Well, mostly an hour, but when there are more questions, then 1.5 hour. If there are
Okay.
not, an half an hour, as long as it takes.
And we have a lot of people on this side of the hemisphere. So for time zone reasons, if they can't show up live or the time difference, it's possible that they can send in their questions via an email or some type of group chat as well and have it answered.
Yes, in the comments of the event itself, and I try to find a moment for everyone. So it is my Wednesday night 8 o'clock, and your Wednesday this time actually.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
very accessible. Awesome.
Yes.
Um, and the pricing is here in euros. So that translates roughly to about 77 euros is about 100 $100-ish.
I thought it was $90.
$90. Okay,
And then,
$90.
yes, I did a converter on the website.
We'll
Yes.
have to we'll have to confirm the exchange rate, but let's call it $90 a month. And then the mastery program winds up being about 100 and what's the exchange for you?
I don't know.
We'll have to look at it. It's very
Yes, it's
accessible,
on the
y'all. It is
website.
discounted for BTO and it was already discounted before. And I
Yes.
wanted to bring this on to you because this is really a path to really not only liberation, but also a path to seeing a new possibility for life because you're learning to navigate it with a greater understanding that we haven't been taught in school. We haven't been taught in a lot of different communities to piece this all together to really architect the type of life that we want to be experiencing. And I love that you bring in the component of surprise, which I refer to as awe, um, because that awe it creates a vitality that and a sensuality for what's possible to experience in our life, which is then the catalyst for really seeing the love that is guiding all of this and how we get to not just experience receiving it, but get to be that as well simultaneously.
Exactly. Get to be that as well. Yes,
Mm,
and understand, yeah,
amazing.
consciously what life is about and enjoying it also. I
Mm,
gave a
yeah.
lecture yesterday in the Netherlands, and there was someone with a very heavy story, and I asked the audience who experienced life intense. So 80% raised their hands of
Mm,
experience life as intense.
yeah.
Yes. And right
80%.
now, 80%, yes,
Isn't that
approximately.
amazing? We always think everybody else has had an okay life and we keep our experience to ourselves, which is part of the shame, by the way, in different ways also, or adds to the shame
Yeah.
component. Um, but we never really I can't say we never really, but a lot of times we don't take into consideration just how similar we all are in the different experiences that we had and what's possible when we empower ourselves individually in this way, because we
Yes.
help to build the structure for other people to become aware and to integrate this also.
Yes. Also, and also the acceptance of the human part of us. So when we share our insights uh, but we did great. But really sharing feelings, and it's not about the story or the arguments or the stand
Mhm.
views. Really sharing uh, how it touched us is so genuinely spoken that it opens everyone's heart to the connection. When we
Yeah.
look at the emotion codex, but we distract it into four parts, then this is somehow the this is some like the DNA of this reality, which contains the force of information, the force of motion, the force of oneness, and the force of interconnection. And
Mm.
this is where our emotions come from. This is where our thoughts come from. This is what forms our body, and this is our consciousness. But right now, when you look at society, the feeling part, the interconnected part, is actually disconnected. We are so disconnected from each other. And when you look at how the society is built, it is built of knowledge and physical eagerness and whatever. But really, the interconnection is what lacks right now. We need to restore balance also between the integration of all these four forces inside of us. And that is why feeling is so important right now.
Hmm. It's
Yes.
powerful. And we can see where there's imbalance in different systems around the world, and that outer expression of where we see it so clearly is also a mirror for the inner expression that's seeking that balance. As we become that balance, those outside structures get facilitated into balance because we're guiding that again. We're, if you will, we're the, I'll say it's going to sound silly. We are the horse in this circumstance that's leading with that line um,
Yeah.
of how to really guide the energy in a particular direction. Right now, there's something else that's shaky and wobbly that we're trying to fit into, but it doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like the life we're supposed to be living. It feels like
No.
the struggle, not the beauty that we would all really rather be receiving.
Yes, I'm so glad that you revealed this, because when we look into society and we feel emotions while looking in society, that means that inside of us we have work to do.
Yeah.
So when we are willing, and so working with emotions is very brave, because we really have to look. When we look into the outer world, and all the projections in the outer world touches something emotional inside of us, this is where we want to do the work on. And when we change it and heal it inside, then we breathe it out again into the society.
Hmm.
So this is why we are all a very important part in changing the world,
I
and
think
not
that's
looking
such,
the other way.
yeah, I think that's such an important component because we don't become complacent once it's healed in us. We don't just like ignore what's happening in the world. What happens is our cup becomes so full with that energy, with that information, with that intelligence, really, that we
Mhm.
start sharing that intelligence with others. The ripple can't help. But again, our cup becomes so full that we have to
Yes,
put it out in creation, such as you're doing here so beautifully and masterfully.
yes,
It's so it
yes.
serves our purpose in so many different ways.
Totally, totally. And we all have, of course, a purpose. Not
Yeah.
maybe a leading purpose, maybe you have a carrying purpose.
Mm.
But when you fully surrender to that person, a purpose, and let yourself be guided, yeah, you
Ah,
you are so
this
massively important.
this work is so profound, and I love the depth that you're taking it into. I want to get into some questions that came in. And again,
Nice.
y'all feel free to ch type your questions to the chat, raise your hand if you have a question for Vera or for us, and we get into that. But Heather wrote in and she writes, I know I have individual shame from childhood abuse. Am I also carrying shame from my family? Is there a different process for helping address both?
No, not specifically, because this work is so fundamental and so easy to understand eventually,
Mm,
because when you look at a lot of different therapies, different methods, they are, a lot of them are built from watching the surface and watching the behavior, but this is built
mm,
from the fundamentals of creation. So I teach you the fundamentals, the really the fundamental principles of how we get hurt, how we carry on, how we hold on also to that hurt, so that you really understand it, and then you can repeat all those practices, because you can remind it easily.
mm,
So it maybe takes little bit more persistence, but maybe it also involves other emotion groups. So when something is really intense, I first of all, what I do is dividing the parts, the different parts, into different emotion groups, which they belong to, and then we start, yeah, at the beginning, and then in the end, it vanishes,
Mm,
and it
wow.
also, of course, penetrates other life themes. So when you work on one thing, it affects, uh, yeah, all of it,
Yeah,
the
and
whole
I
thing.
noticed, I love your explanation of that. I noticed on here anywhere that you're not segmenting this into the emotional codex for finances or the emotional codex for relationships or for health. It's really all encompassing where one thing heals, it ripples out into everything else.
Yes, yes, because it's so fundamental.
Right.
Yes.
And when you shift that structure, everything within that structure shifts.
Yes, yes, that's what's needed. We are in a shift, but
Mhm.
it's also nice if we understand it and integrate it.
How's this different from traditional therapy? Like, from what I gather, we don't have to go into individual traumatic events and try to get so detailed in each of the specifics that we're constantly healing one-off things, even though they may be huge. But again, it feels like it's maybe just again going to the root of it automatically. How does that work?
Well, the interesting thing was the first time that I launched this program in the Netherlands, someone came to me and she was also a student of Rupert Spiro, I guess. And she
Mm,
said, when I look in the world, you have teachers that teach about non duality, you have teachers that teach about the law of attraction, and they bite each other. But as he said, you're the only one that combines it because it's
mm.
belong together. And what did I want to tell about that? What was the question again?
Well, how it's different than traditional psychology.
Yes,
Um,
it has components because they also understand some of some of it,
right.
but it is also based on energetic logic and not on only behavior. The behavior is the end of the cycle.
Mm,
And when you understand the energetics, then you are earlier in the process, and that is what is different. So
right.
it's more
Again, the
fundamental.
energy drives the behavior. The behavior doesn't drive the energy.
Exactly.
Wow. So, what's the energy of fear? How does it begin that then drives us to a specific either checking out or erupting in a particular way that's not constructive? Like, take us a little bit
Yes.
through that. Yeah.
Yes. Let me make that very simple. We have here our thinking, our feeling, and our doing,
Hmm.
and consciousness. But a lot of people don't realize they are conscious. So for a lot of people, this is it. The unconscious processes. This is it. So something is happening. This is also the physical world. So something is happening in our outer world, and it triggers us, and this gives us information actually, and so thoughts about what's happening are coming into our mind, and then from all these thoughts that come into our mind, we take one and we believe that one, and that turns
Hmm.
out into a belief. So if this belief doesn't resonate our true being, or does resonate somewhere, if it resonates or not, our alignment, our emotions are reacting. So the more, and this is purely about emotions and not about feelings and intuition or instinct, that is also a different
Mm,
game. But when it comes to our beliefs, which in case of human is a lot, our emotions will give feedback whether they are aligned or not. So, because emotions are actually the communicators between our conscious mind and our true essence. So
mm,
they feedback on the belief, and then for example, when, for example, this is scary, this is something challenging, our mind says, "Oh, that is scary," and then our emotion reacts with this kind of energy, and
mhm,
then it flees, for example. So the emotion drives our behavior,
mm,
and but it feedbacks on our belief about a certain circumstances. And what we want to do is add some consciousness to it all,
Mm.
And the emotion, what is so nice about emotions is that they are the bells that awaken our consciousness, because
Hmm.
our thinking goes so rapidly, our behavior is so automatically, thinking patterns also, but emotions hurt and we don't like pain. So
Right.
emotions are the ones that awakens us, then we are awake and then we can look into our inner processes.
That's
And then we
amazing.
can yes, then we can change something here, we get different feedback and we get different drives to our behavior and everything
Wow.
is going to change.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Heather, I highly recommend the program. It's truly um with the and I think we can all benefit in so many ways. It's really quite an empowerment tool because there's still things that we're excavating, things that provoke, and when we have an understanding and an intimacy of those emotions and how they're truly serving us, it's really it really they really should be, in my perspective, received with love rather
Yes.
than with rejection.
Yes, totally. And it reminds me of a story last week. A friend of mine, a colleague actually in the Netherlands, it is also a teacher. He teaches meditation. He has a lot of followers, and he got a heart attack last week.
Mm,
And he gave a beautiful explanation. He said, "Because I was so mindful, I could handle everything that was going on in my life.
mm,
But still, I didn't listen to the emotions because I could handle it so good, so well." So he actually also surpassed his emotion because, yes, of course, they are for the lower self, but they
mm.
aren't. It is the feedback mechanism that tells us that something is out of alignment.
Right.
We want to listen.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I love talking about how we're taught as children to stop our emotions short. And it happens if a 3-year-old's throwing a tantrum. It's like, no, stop throwing a tantrum in public because it's shame, but it's like the shame. And then the energy as it starts rising, it's like maybe it'll stop in the stomach. It's not fully processed. Or sexuality as a child, the second, it's like, oh no, that's not proper. And you had to adhere to this. But so the sexual expression stops at the knees. Anger, being angry or sad or crying, it's like we get so entrained to stop it short and not to allow it to fully process through us so that we can have
Yes,
a relationship with it, understand it, the implications of it as a child. A lot of us have saved it as an adult and look at the trauma that has to come through, the fear of force, that so many people in our community are afraid to be forceful with their energy and emotions because what would I be? It might be too much. It might be too aggressive. It may not be understood. It may not be received. I may be a
yeah,
bad person if I allow this to explode through me.
yes. I've seen it so much when I in the beginning did also only satsangs,
Hmm.
and especially the spiritual ones that didn't get actually anything done. They had all this marvelous idea, but they didn't get anything done because they didn't integrate the force that is underneath emotion group anger,
Mm.
because they were all afraid of this strength, this indeed the force that was in them. That reminds me of an anecdote once I had myself, because I also had a very much non-acceptance of anger, and I also sometimes exploded, and I hated that. I
Mm.
hated that. I think everyone who explodes and see that it hurts to the one around them, you feel shamed and sad and everything, and then it becomes one big emotional drama. And so I was exploring this strength, but actually I was afraid of my own strength. And I had a visitor, he was a friend of mine, and we talked about the strength inside of me, and actually the fear I got for it. So she picked up my fear, because for me it really looked like dark. And we were eating, and she had a sandwich with cheese, and her mouth was full, and she put her sandwich aside, and she said, "It doesn't feel any good to be here any longer." So
Mm.
she left, and she really confronted me with my biggest fear, because she flee for my fear, for
Wow.
what I feared about in myself. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity to look. So what I did, I placed a cushion in the middle of the room, and I sat on that, and I was going inwards, and I was connecting with this tremendous force inside of me, which I were afraid of. And I was looking at it, and really it was so scary, and it runs through my veins, and I let it, I let it, I let it, I let it. And in my experience, in my memory, it took 3/4 of an hour, but suddenly it seems like it explodes into golden arrows.
Yeah.
And it I felt so much peace. And at that moment, Bambi was on the television, and my 2-year-old, he came to me, and he laid his head on my shoulder and his finger in his mouth. And then Bambi's mother came out of heaven speaking to her in a dream. And I thought, oh
Wow.
wow, I nailed it. My whole
Wow.
surroundings was reacting on my integration of this force,
Mm.
because I was so afraid that I let it out, that I would blown everyone aside.
Right.
And I didn't. I just integrated my strength.
Beautiful. And what a wonderful invitation for all of us to
Yes.
really allow the integrity of what's within us to express, to really love it into being, um, and trust that we're equipped,
Yes.
to trust that we are divinely equipped to alchemize this. It's divinity wants us to experience the fullness of who we be, not a version of who we believe may be acceptable to others or to the divine, but really the full expression. And it's really an act of service for others to become our true selves.
It is, because then you will be so transparent that you become the vehicle through which everything can be expressed.
Hmm. And something that you
Yes.
shared earlier, and I really appreciate because we have a lot of healers and practitioners that
Mhm.
listen to Beyond the Ordinary as well. Um, and there is something to holding our energy back that stagnates us sharing our work with the world. It's like I don't know why it doesn't get traction. I don't know why it doesn't grow. It's like I'm doing it and I'm trying to get it out there, but there's something in the energy that seems like it's just coagulated in such a way that is asking for an integration within ourselves so that we can burst through that the stoppage that's preventing us being seen or heard or received in some way.
Yes, and actually that's very logic. When I take the Emotion Codex again, that a lot of spiritual workers are very sensitive. That is, this is sadness, the healing part and the empathetic part, and are very close to the universe, the love part. But they actually find it very difficult to be in the strength part and really yeah, present as a human being. So there is actually, when I take this one, this dynamic one, there is actually an disbalance in this one.
Huh.
So when we don't integrate it all, we cannot work. So that yeah, the actually that is often like this. This is what I see with a lot of spiritual people.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so ego is diminished, so that needs to be in. So we need to balance over there. We need our strength to be balanced, and also take our beautiful ideas in. And we need the collaboration and the balance within the whole to manifest.
Mm.
The Emotion Codex is also explains us about manifesting. And when something is out of balance, we cannot manifest. We need balance within the whole.
I love how you describe it with the model because the way that I see it is the way that I'm aware of energy is that it's constantly flowing. And when we capture a specific code or geometry, we're pausing the energy in that moment and catching a snapshot of it. And then having
And
a
then
relationship with the movements of the energy. But this that we've captured in that picture, it's like it's activating or it's informing an intelligence that we are choosing to integrate with. If something is out of balance, it changes the trajectory, even by 1 degree, changes the trajectory of your life over the long term. So when you come
totally.
into balance, it really puts you on your life path in a way
Yes,
that is in your highest potential, if you will.
totally. And people, especially in the spiritual path, think that everything that expands is positive. But then you cannot give birth to anything because giving birth is contracting, consolidating.
Mm.
And that is what we hate. But that, so
Wow, this is so cool. Y'all, the special offer, again, it's a monthly program, but each phase is so impactful. And so it's just it's a life changer, really, as we integrate this. And for me now, more than ever, those of us who have a capacity to feel so much, to connect to other realms and those intelligence, you're wired for it. But we're here to connect heaven on earth. And so your gift of being able to do that and have that relationship and to, in human form, receive the gift of that and then share that gift with others. This is everything that you may be experiencing in this world is a calling for you right now to really step into an amazing potential that is awakening for all of us in our own unique coding that we have the capacity to create and ripple out into this world. This is profound, Vera. Yo, go into the special offer again. I highly recommend it. Um, go through at your own pace. Know that it's a monthly. You'll have access to all the modules, but really take your time through the phases is what I would recommend. Even switching one phase, again, just 1 degree of change. And again, this is more than one if you go through a phase. If it's how many phases? 9 phases divided by 100. I don't know. It'll make a major impact without question. All the details are beautifully outlined on there, and there's even this free 7-day trial on this, Vera.
yes, that's true. Yes,
So,
you
so
can
the
look at that.
7-day trial, you can try it out and see how it is for you, and if it's resonating, you keep going. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I just highly recommend it. Um, Tara's writing that we're receiving such subtle energies now, not knowing where they're coming from or originating from. How would you
Mm.
answer Tara? I have my perspective on that, but I want to hear what you have to share.
Tara, do you mean right now, here in this talk, or do you mean right now in the time space?
I think she means just in the collective right now, in our world around us.
Well, I also feel it, but I have to tune into that because I didn't notice it that quite well.
Hmm.
For me, what I feel right now is also the field of connection. So this is what I always when speaking to people and things are becoming clearer and clearer, then misconceptions fall off, things that we hold on that doesn't serve us fall off, and then actually we are all more resonating on our true beings, and that is vibrating, that is continuously moving. And a lot of people feel stuck because they hold something, but this motion, that is the acceleration of of everything. That is, by the way, the mastering. When the codex is in harmony, uh, and then set into action, then it's going to accelerate, and then everything is going to move and change more rapidly. I think something like that might be going on right now.
I really appreciate your explanation of that. And I completely agree with you also. And the subtle energies, they're coming from us. They're coming from us individually, they're coming from us collectively. We are experiencing what I believe is a time of great evolution for humanity. And what we're feeling and the energies that are coming from are unintegrated emotions, integrated emotions, and how they're working together and refining what's possible as we have a deeper understanding, awareness, and relationship with the truth of how we have been navigating this world with one another that goes beyond ourselves, but absolutely has to include ourselves simultaneously. And it's bringing into unity. There is no separation, and there is a refinement of consciousness and understanding of cause and effect. It's very logical. If I do this, this is going to happen. If I show up this way, the ripples are going to create momentum either this way or this way. And so we're becoming now just more aware, and we're calling each other up in that awareness. A lot of people are talking about three-eye atlas. I don't want to get into that conversation on this call um, right now.
Never heard of it.
It's not serving as far as what we're providing here. For anybody who has a curiosity about that particular topic, I would recommend that you drop in and meditate as to into what's true for you instead of picking up information from all kinds of different places and trying to integrate it. I know that divinity gives us information and the process with grace over time. There's never one thing that is going to impact us so dramatically that we aren't prepared to receive. All of it. All of it. So anyone who wants to talk about the Gaia Atlas, drop into yourself first. Meditate on what it is for you that it may be provoking. Channel maybe what's coming through for you. And then when y'all take it down a few layers deep, then let's have a conversation about it. Because to trigger things, either with the hopes of being saved or great things coming in, or something bad's going to happen and all that, that's the surface level hits, bouncing off the energy field. And what Vera's teaching us here is to let's go deeper into the layers, into the integrity that is ready to demonstrate itself so that we can really set ourselves free and create a world in a way that we haven't been taught is possible, but that we have felt is absolutely true and available to us. So that's what I would say about three-eye atlas. Um, Talking
Mhm.
about the world and where it's going and the individuality, Vera, I'd love to finish with you. Um, with the emotions and the intelligence and the logic and the spirit, how it is it that we can create and establish more harmony within ourselves now?
Well, first of all, what I picked up when you was talking about this, uh, what I've never heard about actually, um, is that a lot of people tend to grab things outside of themselves.
Mm,
Not only physical things, also guidance from somewhere outer space. But the beautiful thing that I think that we need, the step that we need to take is really embody the
mm,
forces within ourselves, because we are as divine as the creatures that we want to hold on to or grab or so. Uh, I am very sober and practical, and it is also very logic, and so we are all the stuff that is not serving us and makes it more complex. We don't need it. The world and our life is so beautiful in its simplicity,
mm.
and it's the simplicity and the the foundational perfection what makes life so easy and nice.
Well, and it's in that ease also that we become more available for more intelligence to come through. If we want to
Yes.
connect with spirit, with our intuition, with with our clarity of do I go left or right in this particular circumstance, it comes with greater ease and grace as we integrate this into our lives.
Yes, and it is because when we really embody all these forces within ourselves, we as our baselines become stronger and more powerful, and then we can receive more.
It's funny because as you're saying that, they talk about different people being clear
Mhm.
channels of receiving information. But when I look at your model, I also want to call they're balanced channels. And
Interesting. Yeah.
those are the ones that we want to work with. The balanced channels are the
Mm.
ones that can ground in that awareness and bring it into form for creation and service.
Yes, and leave their personal stuff out of it. Yes.
Right. Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
So
we are
so
all
harmony,
trustworthy.
harmony, Vera. How can we bring harmony into our lives? We're obviously balancing these energies.
Yes. Balancing. I like word balancing. Balance we will never reach, but balancing is a sport.
It's a sport. We have been in the Olympics for a long time, y'all, this lifetime and others in that sport. What's one thing that our listeners can start doing now that would help them with that balancing?
Well, what comes into my mind is first of all, really accept the fullness of your humanity. First of all, because without acceptance of where you are right now, we cannot evolve. So
Mm,
the acceptance is some kind of opening for whatever comes into your life and also comes into your inner world. So the acceptance is important. Um, and once in a while, stop the time and really take time for it. When I look into society right now, we don't take time. But when we do take time, we can really look inside. But I imagine that everyone who looks at your show already knows that. Uh, well, yesterday when I gave this lecture, what I also noticed was uh, someone came to me and she was actually her head was very active, but she speaks about all this spirituality, but she didn't feel connected. So I asked her, would you please make a connection with the audience? And what she did was reaching out to the public to connect. And I said that connecting is what we do the other way around. Connecting is not reaching out. Really connecting is receiving. So this is what we can practice right now is receiving our outer world into ours, and we might also practice it right now, for example, by, for example, breathing in the outer world. And by well breathing in the outer world, here it will process, and then we breathe out it again. And that is the same way that we connect with other people. This is the way that we want to connect with our feelings,
mm,
because feelings are easily expressed or suppressed or projected onto others or ventilated, but we really want to let them in and observe how they float without grabbing also the story, because that is what I see a lot with people. They look at the emotion and immediately they go to the story. They think that is wrong, but
right.
first being able to receive the feeling and be with it, that is lesson number one, actually.
Wow. That's actually profound, even as I was tuning into that and paused a second and took in the technology of receiving, which can be one of the biggest initiations for empaths is to receive. But
Yes,
as I
because a
pause
lot of
with you, oh,
that's
go ahead,
totally
please. Yeah.
true. Yes, a lot of empaths, they throw a line to the other person, and then this line stays there, and then they think, I still feel the other person. That's interesting. No, that is actually distracting your energy from the center. So what we want is letting it in. Uh, yeah. and that is the connection. And then also, of course, let it go again. So this
Right.
is what a lot of people continuously do. Yeah, and that is why their energy is not centered anymore.
And it's exhausting.
It
And
is exhausting.
it makes us feel unsafe because we're afraid to receive others because we're empathing a lot of times, the majority of times, the 80% that's in trauma.
Ah, yes.
All right. I think those numbers go across the board in different ways. And so as
Mm.
empaths, if we're constantly doing that, then it's easy. Let me just be this light and this love and let me emanate and self-sustain that as I give. But what happens is you wind up getting drained.
Yeah,
You
totally.
wind up
Ow, ow,
depleting
ow.
yourself and then you have to recover again. And
Yes,
it's beautiful in the practice. You were speaking of it, but it was a practice in this pausing to receive. The second you said that, I
it
felt
is a
a
practice.
wave of peacefulness come through me,
Yes, that is true.
an opening of being more available. And I felt a deeper connection with you as you were talking. And it was just through that awareness. It took 3 seconds, maybe 10.
Yes, yes. Do you know when I discovered that? Do we have time or
Yeah, we
for an
have plenty of
anecdote?
time. Absolutely.
I was very sensitive when I was young, and I was so tired that my bedroom was after the stairs, the first door to the right, but I couldn't get up to the stairs because I was so tired. When I was around 14, 15 years old, and my mother took me to a healer, an energetic healer, and she told me you need to protect yourself by putting your roots into the ground and protecting yourself with this glass around you. And it didn't work. It didn't work. And so I always like to experiment on myself. So I went to this huge second-hand store where they sold this old carpets and old uh, pans and pots and all these smoking people. And I went through it and I thought, let's do it exactly the other way around. I'm not going to shut myself. I'm going to let all the people in and I will experience what that will do. So I looked at anything that I normally wanted to avoid and I let it in completely. And I walked through this huge building. And when I reached the end of the building, I felt so vitalized. Wow, it was such a
Mm.
shock because it was so differently that all the energetic and new age and everything that my mother took me told me.
Wow.
And then later I realized by opening and letting things in and really breathe the outer world into us, our heart is being opened, but not only that, also our crown is opened, but also our root is being opened. So when you do this, you not only feel the peace coming within, but you also feel your legs becoming heavy because they are
Mm.
rooted into the ground.
Ah, it's good
And you're,
awareness.
yes, and also this is opening.
Wow.
So
Wow.
all these tricks I'm going to teach you.
It's fantastic. Y'all, all these lessons and more and awarenesses um, that are available. Highly recommend the Emotion Codex and your opportunity to go in. It is at a discounted price for BTO. You'll get Vera on the live calls. You get all the video calls. As a matter of fact, they're even transcribed in different languages. So
Yes, they're all subtitled in, well, 8 different languages. Spanish, German, French, Italian, Turkish, Japanese, English as well. So, yes, my English is not very well in the codex, but it improves. So the codex I will
it's
record
fantastic. I think it's great. Yeah. And again, there's so much
again.
wisdom that you're sharing there, and we can feel um, not just your passion, but the love in which you're translating that passion through. So thank you for
Mhm.
putting this together and this great body of work that I know is ready to impact so many people in the world.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been wonderful having you on the show. Thank you all for being on the call. Y'all, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. Take advantage of that. It's also in the special offer button right underneath the video where you're watching the call from on the replay or the live page. If you're watching this call from YouTube, you can always access the special offers by the link that we'll put in the chat box on this particular call. So look for that link as well. And it's with that, Vera. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for what you do. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.